I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. Judge Raymond Dearie, who's sitting in senior status as a federal judge in the Eastern District of New York, the judge who was appointed to be the special master by Judge Aileen Cannon in connection with the search warrant executed at Mar-A-Lago to review all of the documents obtained by the Department of Justice. Well, Judge Deary has just issued his first order in connection with his appointment as the special master over the Mar-A-Lago search matter. Let me pull up that order right now for everybody. The order is a special master order. Counsel are directed to appear before the undersigned in courtroom 10A-S of the Brooklyn Federal Courthouse on Tuesday, September 20th, 2022, at 2 p.m. for a preliminary conference in the above captioned matter. Counsel are invited to submit proposed agenda items for the discussion by docketed letter to be filed before the close of business on September 19th, 2022. And so what that means is Judge Deary, who's now the special master overseeing the review of the documents obtained during the Department of Justice lawful search warrant that was executed by the FBI on August 8th, has invited the parties, both the Department of Justice and Trump's lawyers, to submit any proposed agendas for what will be discussed at this status conference hearing, which will be held next Tuesday. So we're going to have a filing by next Monday. We're going to have a preliminary hearing where the Department of Justice will appear, as well as Trump's lawyers to appear. And ultimately the irony of Trump asking for a special master is that from everything that we know, this whole gambit, which is just delay, is going to backfire miserably, like all of the things that he does. I mean, he's just hoping that possibly he could delay this out and stretch this out till nobody cares anymore. But he's not the president anymore. People are very focused and now I think are more motivated and energized than ever. Now, here's the thing that I think is going to be discussed in the agenda items and in the September 20th hearing. Donald Trump has not claimed at all in any court documents that the 100 classified documents have either been declassified or belong to him. He's never actually made that claim. He's made that claim to the media, and in his court filings, he's basically said, well, a special master should make these decisions. But what I think Judge Deary, who's been a federal judge, was appointed by Ronald Reagan, has been a federal judge for a very, very, very long time, and known as a no-nonsense federal judge, is going to hone in on is, what are you making the claims of? Are you claiming that these documents are yours? Are you claiming that you declassified these records? And I think the Department of Justice is going to raise those issues right away in the agenda, as well as at the hearing. And I think that actually, as it relates to the 100 classified documents, I think the government's going to ask, let's deal with these documents on an expedited basis. We'll show you, Judge, these documents first. It should take you maybe a few days to look at. You were a judge on the FISA courts, so you have experience based on your role being part of the federal surveillance courts on national security matters. So, Judge, let us show you these 100 classified documents right away. Review those, then we can deal with all the records next. Trump, on the other hand, is probably going to argue, let's just dump all the documents to you. Let's delay, and take as long as we can. Judge Cannon has given this special master process until November 30 to be completed. Let me give you also Judge Deary's background for a minute, just so you recall. Judge Deary was appointed by Ronald Reagan. Judge Deary was the chief judge in the Eastern District of New York up until 2011, when he essentially retired, took what's called senior status. He was shortly thereafter appointed by the Supreme Court to be one of the members of the Foreign Surveillance or FISA courts. He actually was one of the individuals who signed the FISA warrant for surveillance on Carter Page. This is why he was the strategic decision, I suppose, by Trump to bring in Judge Deary or to recommend Judge Deary was the fact that in the 2016-2017 Carter Page warrants, those were later held to be actually have defects in the warrants themselves. So what Trump's hoping, or what their lawyers hope, is that Judge Deary will view warrants in connection with Trump very skeptically, although those FISA warrants are very different than what the warrants at issue are here. So I think that Trump completely miscalculated in picking Judge Deary, who understands the law on this, understands the undisputed issues that classified documents can't be stolen by former presidents, and ultimately I think is going to try to deal with those issues right away. And none of this nonsense before Judge Aileen Cannon, who is a inexperienced and corrupt Trump judge. None of that is going to work in front of Judge Deary, who has ample experience, and who the Department of Justice said, even though this was someone who Trump recommended, this is someone who the Department of Justice said, we're fine to have this individual be the special master. And so things are going to start heating up with the special master as early as next week. And the fact that this order came out right away by Judge Deary says he's not waiting. He understands the seriousness of the issues. He's ready to go right away. And this order is probably a little alarming to Trump's team, who was hoping to buy a little more time. But Judge Deary saying, let's go right now. Now, you may be wondering, so is the Department of Justice going to appeal? Are they just going along with this? Like, what's going on here? The Justice Department has filed a notice of appeal last week, and they are likely going to appeal. They're going to appeal the ruling by Judge Aileen Cannon, I believe, as well as Judge Cannon's denial of the motion for partial stay. But that doesn't mean that they can't do anything with the special master. The move that they made, which was to stay or to stop Judge Aileen Cannon's ruling as it relates to the 100 classified records, she denied that. So they have to go forward with the special master, but I still undoubtedly believe they're going to appeal. They're going to appeal on an expedited basis. And if they win on the appeal, essentially what would happen is the process that is being undertaken before Judge Deary would just stop, and then they'd get access to those documents right away. And those documents would then be part of the criminal investigation into Donald Trump and be used for their further issues that they raised were important, like the potential harm to our national security. So this doesn't prevent the Department of Justice from appealing. And in fact, what I think the Department of Justice is going to say, again, as I mentioned earlier to Judge Deary, is let's deal with these 100 documents first. Shouldn't take you that long to review. Let's you take a look at these documents right away and then make a decision on them. Let us get those documents back. And then if you want to deal with all these other documents, which are 100% belong to the government, go do it. But let's deal with what's urgent and what's affecting our national security first. We'll see what happens with the 11th Circuit. If, again, I think the Department of Justice will appeal. If we get an order soon, that process can stop and we could get it back sooner. But, the wheels of justice still have to turn, and the Department of Justice has to go through this process. But just think about this process. At the end of the day, it was a temporary delay tactic, but what is the special master going to do? The special master is going to look at documents. They're going to have classified markings on them. They're clearly going to belong to the government. And Trump's either going to claim in filings, I own those, in which point he's stipulating to the crime of espionage, which is taking these records that don't belong to him, the obstruction charge, which was not turning these documents over, and the concealment, which he was hiding these records. So he will be admitting to that. Or he's going to claim their personal documents, which is you're claiming our classified records are personal and belong to you, in which case you're also stipulating to the crime. And there can't be executive privilege if you're claiming that they're personal. They inherently can't be executive documents. And of course, there is no executive privilege of former presidents. That belongs to the current executive branch. So Trump's in front of a serious federal judge right now with ample experience, no nonsense, not in front of Judge Aileen Cannon's kangaroo court, putting it nicely, not in front of the banana republic Trump MAGA court system that they want to create. A real judge. And I think, and every legal observer thinks, Judge Cannon's ruling is absurd. She's a hack. She's corrupt, a laughingstock of a lawyer, a laughingstock of a judge. It is what it is. But we're in front of a real serious judge now who's going to take it seriously. And Trump's going to be exposed. So you wasted our time for 2 weeks. But in wasting our time for 2 weeks, you've just further exposed all of your criminality. You've made it worse for yourself than if you just shut up and tried to handle this behind the scenes between your lawyers and the Department of Justice lawyers. But you've called it out. You've exposed yourself. And this report by Judge Deary is going to be damning for Trump. It's just a matter of when that happens. So we'll keep you updated on what happens next week. We'll follow that hearing on September 20th, pursuant to the special master's order. And we'll keep you updated on the filing on September 19th, where counsel are directed to file any preliminary agenda. Again, the date of that hearing is September 20th. At 2 p.m. for a preliminary conference pursuant to the special master's order. And counsel are invited to submit their agendas by Monday, September 19th, 2020, before close of business. I'm Ben Meiselas for the MeidasTouch Network. Hey, make sure to hit the subscribe button right now. Hit subscribe right now. We are growing this movement together. We need you in this movement. Make sure you hit subscribe. Let's grow this to 1 million subs by the end of the year. Please hit the subscribe button right now. Also, if you want to support independent media, I get DMs all the time. I see it in the comments all the time. How could we help wherever we live? How could we help grow this independent media channel? Here's how. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We're not funded by any outside investors. We don't go to these VCs or private equity and ask for money. We want to stay independent and grow together with you so we can bring you this type of unapologetically pro-democracy media that you see nowhere else. So the way you can help is by going to Patreon, patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. You can join one of the tiers of membership where you'll get exclusive content. You could become a producer of the MeidasTouch podcast and have your name appear in the podcast, get postcards for me and my brothers, other exclusive content and benefit. But most importantly, it's a way you can help grow this platform, and we could grow this network together by going to patreon.com/MeidasTouch. I'm Ben Meiselas. Until next time, let's keep fighting for our democracy together.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.